Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to America once again, and we're going to go to New England in the northeast of the country. To be specific, we're going to go to the state of Colorado, and this isn't the first review I've done from there actually. I have reviewed a couple of beers from the state before. We've had Lock City Brewing, Beard Brewing, and also a few from Kent Falls as well actually, thanks to my friends in the state over there. But for this one we are going to have a look at another brewery who have never featured on the channel before, but they do seem to be making a bit of a name for themselves over here in Sweden just now. They've got a distribution deal with Systembolaget from what I understand. So for this review we are going to go to South Windsor, which is just to the northeast of Hartford, the state capital, right in the centre of the state, and we're having a look at my first beer from Connecticut Valley Brewing Company. So this one is called the Stargazer. It comes in at 8.1% ABV, and this one is a New England double IPA or hazy double IPA, however you want to term it. So this one was released as part of the Tillfällig Sortiment in early September of 2020 through Systembolaget, and this one has Galaxy and Victoria's Secret hops in it from Australia, and that was the main reason that I got this one actually. I do love both of those hops, and you know, it's not often that you come across a solely Australian hopped IPA these days. So yeah, curious to see how this one turns out. I have seen a few beers from these guys through Systembolaget so far. There is the Mackinac Peach Sour, which I will review for you later on, and they also have the Ace of Aces, I think it's called as well, which is an India Pale Lager, an IPL if I remember rightly, and that one seems to be available in quite a few shops throughout Sweden actually. Quite a few Systembolagets are carrying that as part of their regular range. I know that my local one here in Lund actually has that, so I'll see about getting a can of that and reviewing it for you at some point over the next wee while actually. But yeah, really curious to see how this one turns out. Nice to have another brewery from Connecticut, and who knows, maybe I can actually go to this brewery and film a little bit of an out and about video there next year. I will be in Connecticut in early July next year, COVID permitting, for my friend Laura's wedding. So big shout out to my friends Laura and Josh, who are over there in Connecticut, of course. My friend Tabor as well, who is originally from Connecticut but is now down in Colorado. I will be going to Colorado to visit him as well. But yeah, cool to have these guys for you on the channel for the first time, and I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this beer as well. Hopefully this is a really good one. But yeah, as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I'll do in the future from Connecticut Valley Brewing Company. Very first time I'm trying one of their beers, as I said. There's all the usual social media down there. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, province, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the American beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Connecticut Valley Brewing Company then, on to my brewery notes. So as I've mentioned to you already, Connecticut Valley Brewing are based in South Windsor in Connecticut, which is just to the northeast of the state capital Hartford, which you'll find right in the middle of the state, and the company was launched in 2017 by Steve and Laurie Palauskas. So Steve has a massive background in the aviation industry, which you know you can kind of see on the labels here, but he started his own service company back in the 1990s and grew it very successfully. He'd homebrewed for a long time as a hobby, but then Laurie encouraged him to actually start a brewery once the other company became self-sustaining, and she is heavily involved in the company as well. So they found their location in 2016, and they chose this one because they felt that, you know, they could easily modify the property and extend it, and they began work on this place in October of 2016, and the work took around 18 months from what I understand. And this was, you know, I think it was a bit later in 2017 that they actually opened the tap room. But they were contract brewing their beers in the early days at other breweries just to kind of get the brand established. And they've been kind of growing steadily ever since. If you look on the website, you will see that it's quite a nice looking property actually. They've basically got one of these kind of very American style restaurant-y type things on the front. The tap room just looks like one of these kind of, you know, stone based wooden top American houses, but they've basically got a big warehouse thing on the back of it where all the brewing takes place. It's really quite nice actually. The tap room looks very kind of typical and American, with along, you know, quite like some of the other ones that I've been to over in the States already. But the other thing as well is that these guys do they do a lot of different things. So Steve and Laurie also own the Birdhouse Coffee Cafe, which was established in 2019. This was on the back of them producing a coffee stout for the brewery, and in addition to beer, the brewery also produce a number of soft drinks. They do sodas, they do hard seltzers, and they've also got flavoured sparkling water as well. But the symbol for the brewery is the Vought F4U Corsair, which first flew in the Second World War. It was a carrier-based fighter plane, that, and it is apparently also the Connecticut state airplane. I didn't know that the Americans had state aeroplanes. I knew that there was state birds and state faunas and all these things, but state aeroplanes, I didn't know that was something that they actually had over in America. I've always been into my aviation as well. I think I've told you on the channel a couple of times, my grandfather was a Spitfire pilot from 1940 to 40, I think it was the end of 46 that he came out actually. But yeah, he flew the Spitfire for a long time, and he taught me a lot about all the different fighter planes from all the different countries actually. So aviation is always something that I've been very, very interested in as well. So cool to learn that the Corsair is the state plane of Connecticut. I think the Corsair flew in I want to say that it flew in, you know, in various various different wars. I think they used it in Korea. I don't know if it went beyond that as well actually. I know it was used mainly as a ground attack plane in Korea and things as well, but in the Second World War it was mainly a carrier based fighter plane and ground attack plane from what I remember. The wings could go up and it looks like it has this distinctive wing shape, like a kind of seagull wing shape I remember as well, but quite a fast radial engine fighter from what I remember. So yeah, a little bit of aviation for you there on the channel as well. But back to the brewery. As of September 2020, when I'm reviewing this one for you, these guys have produced around 90 different kinds of beer, and there seems to be a wide variety of different things in there. On the website, if you look through the list, there's Schwarzbiers in there, there's Doppelbock, a few other different German styles as well. There's a number of different sours, and you will see a sour reviewed later, like I said, and there's various kind of IPAs and pale ales and stuff like this too. So they do seem to try their hand at quite a few different things actually. I'm curious to see what beers actually make it over here over the next little while actually. So yeah, that's all I can really tell you about Connecticut Valley Brewing Company for the moment. It was a bit frustrating to try and find some of the information on this brewery because a number of the local newspapers and things like that from Hartford, they're blocked in the EU for some reason. They don't let you know, European IP addresses view their sites for some reason. So yeah, there was quite a few articles in the local Hartford papers and stuff about this brewery, but I couldn't, you know, it wouldn't let me access them even with VPNs and all of this kind of thing, so that was a bit of a pain. But yeah, I did manage to find a fair amount, and you know, I think that will do for the history section for the moment. Maybe I can contact these guys later and get a little bit more information about the brewery and things. But yeah, that's all I can tell you about Connecticut Valley Brewing Company for the moment. If you want to learn more, of course, you can check out the brewery website. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and you can of course check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages to learn more about all the different beers that these guys have done. So yeah, let's get on and actually have a look at the beer itself then. I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork before we open the beer up. As you can see, this one is kind of, I guess you could call this like maritime and space kind of themed actually. They do have a few different beers that have this kind of astronomical theme, and that was one of the other things that caught my eye with this one, is because of my astrophysics background. I did quite like the fact that it was called Stargazer, and then you also had the Australian hops in this one, the Victoria's Secret and the Galaxy of course. So yeah, as you can see, the artwork there, that is the brewery symbol with the Vought Corsair on it. And yeah, that one looks like it's US Army Air Corps rather than US Air Force, because it's got the red strip on it. I'm not actually clear when the US Air Force evolved from the US Army Air Corps, because if it's just the star and the kind of white, then it's US Air Force. But then if it's got the red stripe through it, that's US Army Air Corps. And I don't know if the Army Air Corps were really still operating. I know the Navy had various kind of planes and stuff like this, but yeah, I didn't know that the Army Air Corps had Corsairs as well actually. I thought it was mainly the Navy and the Air Force that operated these, but I'm not sure, as I say, when the US Air Force evolved out of the the Army Air Corps. But yeah, really nicely presented, this one. The artwork, I have to say, is absolutely lovely, and yeah, should be a very nice beer, this one actually. The can is sweating a little bit because we've had it out of the fridge for a few minutes. But yeah, 473ml can, this one, 1 US pint. I do wish the Americans would just use the metric system and do half litres and things. It'd be so much easier. I always make fun of the American measurement system in the videos. You'll know this if you've watched the channel for any length of time, because it just, this whole thing about cups and quarts and stuff, it just doesn't make sense. Metric system's based on water, the universal solvent. Just use it, guys, you know, come on. But yeah, 473ml can, this one. And yeah, this, I think this one cost me about 45 Swedish kroners, so that is about, what will that be, about $5 US, something like that. So yeah, about €5, maybe $5.50, I would say, something like that, because the US dollar has dropped a little bit in value over the last wee while actually. So yeah, we'll put the bottle cap under this. I can see the light is being a bit of a pain. Let's do it so you can see the artwork. There you go. That's a wee trick that I found works with these shiny cans actually. I wish more and more of the breweries would do the kind of satin finish cans, because it's a bit annoying for the camera, these sort of shiny ones. But yeah, as you can see with this beer, and as you would expect from a New England double, this one's poured a lovely kind of bright, hazy, I would say this one's one of the richer yellow colours that I've come across. This is more like a mango juice colour. I always compare the New England IPAs to different fruit juices, so to me this one looks a little bit more like a kind of mango or mixed tropical fruit juice, this one. You can see when we poured the beer it had about a quarter to a third finger of a frothy, I would say cream coloured head. It's just faded away to be a very, very thin foamy layer. There's one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. But you know, overall it does look really quite nice actually. It's kind of what you would expect from a New England IPA. Nothing really surprising about the appearance of this one. But yeah, if we put our fingers behind the glass, you can see this beer is pretty damn hazy. It's not the soupiest and gloopiest of New England doubles that I've come across, but as I've told you before, as you go up the alcohol scale with this style, you know, you will gradually get more hazy because of the higher amount, you know, the higher volumes of oats and wheat and things that are used as part of the malt base. But yeah, nothing surprising about the appearance of this beer then. Let's have a little look at the aroma then and see how we get on. And as we know, Victoria's Secret and Galaxy do have a hell of a punch to them if they get going. Ooh, that does smell pretty nice actually. So straight away with this beer you get a hell of a big fruity character coming out of it. For me, there's quite a big passion fruity note coming out of this one. I've always found that, you know, I've always found the profiles of Victoria's Secret and Galaxy, you know, quite similar, to be honest with you. So straight away with this one you get quite a strong passion fruity note out of it. Quite a pungent passion fruit, I have to say, as well. But there's a few other kind of lighter tropical fruits in there as well. You know, you do have a little bit of a kind of what could we say? You do get a wee bit of a kind of mango note out of it. You also get a little bit of that kind of pineapple papaya, that softer tropical fruit in there as well. I found that Victoria's Secret, it can give you some of these kind of softer notes as well. So I think probably the softer notes are coming from the Victoria's Secret, but the more pungent passion fruit is most likely to come from the Galaxy. Galaxy's got it's a big beast of a hop. From what I remember, quite high in alpha acid, about 15%. I think the Victoria's Secret is slightly lighter in its alpha acid at about 12%, something like that. But yeah, the aroma coming out of this one is pretty nice in terms of the fruitiness. I'll say that straight away. So quite a bit of passion fruit. You've got those lighter kind of pineapple-y, apricot-y, papaya type notes out of the beer as well. And I want to say just a little bit of a kind of mango quality to it as well. But yeah, mainly I think passion fruit is the kind of mainstay in this one. But the more you smell of this beer, the kind of juicier it starts to become, and it leans towards those lighter, softer tropical notes. But yeah, on the malty side of things, for me, this one, you get a good little bit of bitiness from the wheat. You can smell that slightly stronger wheat kind of bitey pungency out of this beer, but you do get a nice kind of creaminess from the oats, and there is a wee bit of a slightly Werther's Originally biscuity type note coming out of this one as well. When this beer's come from the States, we do have to comment maybe on the freshness a little bit, so this one probably won't be quite as fresh as some of the you know, as some of the Swedish beers and the Danish beers that I would review for you normally. But yeah, it does have a nice little bit. It does have a nice little bit of a kind of slightly biscuity sweetness in the middle of the nose too, but that might be something that evolves out of it as it just gets slightly older. We'll need to see, but it does still smell pretty fresh actually. So yeah, the malty side of this one, as I say, good bit of creaminess from the oats. The oats do come across as quite smooth and creamy in this one, but you do have quite a bit of bitey wheat. No, I think this one leans more towards the wheaty side of things in terms of the malt base, but yeah, a little bit of a biscuity sweetness as well. But yeah, I do like how this one, I do like how the aroma goes together in this one. It's really quite nice actually. So yeah, good little bit of a malty backbone to it, and it does have a bit of that pungency as well to let you know this is a double IPA. And I think when you have double IPAs like this, you really want that. You don't want them to be kind of crazily drinkable. You do want them to say, I am a double IPA. You want a bit of that booziness to them. So yeah, the aroma coming out of this one on the malty side of things is really nice. In terms of the green side of the hops, I would say that this beer is big and floral and aromatic. You would expect that from the hops that are involved in this one. Both of them very high alpha acid. So yeah, quite a nice big floral aromatic spice out of this one. There is a wee bit of grassiness and a wee touch of earthiness, but yeah, I think mainly a kind of floral aromaticity coming out of this one. So yeah, I do like how that goes together in this beer. So yeah, the aroma of this one is pretty nice actually, so take a little bit of time and just enjoy that before you get stuck into this one. The aroma is pretty good, and it's definitely cool to come across an Australian hopped New England double IPA of course as well. I think I will probably be going back to Australia maybe next year, I think, for a little while to see my uncle and stuff, so hopefully I can review some more Aussie beers for you as well. But yeah, let's have a taste of this one then and just see how we get on. So this one is the Stargazer, a New England double IPA, 8.1% ABV from Connecticut Valley Brewing Company in South Windsor to the northeast of Hartford, right in the centre of Connecticut. Take a bit of time to enjoy the aroma of this one, but now we're having a taste of it. Let's get stuck in. Sláinte, skål. Oh yeah, that's pretty nicely done, I have to say. First impression is it's got a nice, this one's got a really quite nice mouthfeel to it actually. I like, it's got a little bit more oiliness to it I think. And it's really, it feels really clean actually as well, which I quite like. Yeah, and first I really like the way that the mouthfeel goes together in this one. That's the first thing that's striking me with this beer. And the flavour, you know, the flavour profile obviously is very nice too. Yeah, this one's definitely got a good bit of bite to it. So yeah, thumbs up, I will say thumbs up to Connecticut Valley for this. This is really pretty damn solid actually. I can see why these guys have been building a bit of a reputation for themselves if this is the kind of beer that they're making. Let me just rebalance that, there we go. But yeah, this one is a solid beer. Yeah, I think I will need to go and have a visit to this brewery now and try a few of the other things that they're doing. I'd be curious to see what their sour beers are like actually, because I've been getting really into sour beers recently. So yeah, where to start with this beer then? So yeah, straight away with this one, as you go across the as you take the beer in, straight away across the middle of the palate you get a lovely kind of smooth white bready note that kind of just blankets the middle of your tongue. It starts to sweeten up a little bit later. I do find that this beer is one that I think this one gets progressively more sweet the more that you drink of it, and the further you go into the aftertaste as well. So if you go towards the back third of your palate there, you can feel the nice kind of smooth white bready wheaty notes. It does have a little bit of bite to it on the wheaty side of things, I have to say. But yeah, you do get a lovely kind of wheaty smoothness out of the beer. You do get a wee touch of a kind of wheaty spice coming out of it as well, which is really nice. But yeah, I love that. I actually thought from the aroma this one was going to be a lot more kind of wheaty leaning than it actually is. This one's actually very well balanced in the malt base for me. So yeah, when you go towards the back third of the palate, the wheat's got a lovely kind of smoothness to it. There is a wee bit of that bitiness, like I said, but then as you move further forward into the into the kind of middle third of your tongue, it's quite an interesting one. So if you go towards the front half of that middle third of your tongue, that's where you get the kind of big oaty creaminess out of the beer. Then if you just go behind that, you start to get, you can feel a little bit more of the kind of breadiness. Actually, it almost feels as if it feels almost as if the kind of back third of your tongue is just a little bit kind of higher, and then the front half of that middle third of your tongue is a little bit higher as well, and then you've just got a little dip in there, and you've got some more kind of straight up white bread, and on top of that white bread there's a little bit of a kind of biscuity, kind of Werther's Original type sweetness. I'm not sure how relevant a kind of descriptor Werther's Original is for Americans. I can't remember if you get them over there, but there is just a wee bit of that, a very slight and bright brown, kind of brown sugary, sort of very oily brown sugary note in the middle of the palate there, and I do like that. I like a little bit of brown sugar in these, in the New England IPAs. I've noticed that's a kind of thing that's coming out with a number of breweries these days. I've always felt with the New England beers that when you go above, when you go above about 8% in these, you do need a little bit of brown sugar. Otherwise, the beer, it just starts to feel like really, really boozy, and you can actually kind of taste the booze rather than having the sweetness to balance it out. I've noticed that the New England style has evolved a little bit over the last few years, not just to be oats and wheat and kind of bread, if you like. It does have a little bit. I think these beers are definitely a bit more sweeter now, a bit sweeter than they were back in 2015. I have noticed that with other releases recently that have been, kind of special versions, if you like, of beers from a few years back. But yeah, for me, definitely this one, the malt base is really well balanced. This lovely smooth wheat on the back third of the tongue, good kind of oaty creaminess at the front of that middle third, and then in the middle of those two, you have a little bit of a kind of oily, brown sugary type thing, which is quite nice, and underneath that there's a little bit of white breadiness as well. So yeah, the flavor, the kind of profile on this one, I think, is really quite nice. But yeah, I do like how this one really goes together. It's the malt base for me. It's really quite nice. It's not quite as I expected. It's a bit kind of smoother and almost creamier than I thought it was going to be. I thought this one was going to have a little bit more bite to it. And in fairness, as the beer evolves on your palate, you do get more and more of the wheatiness kind of pushing its way out, if you like. It's almost a little touch spicy. But yeah, I do like how that goes together. So yeah, thumbs up to Connecticut Valley for the malt base on this one. On the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate, you've got a little bit of earthiness there. As you come further forward along the sides of the palate, it gets, you start to get more of a kind of bigger floral aromaticity out of this one. It's got a wee touch of spice there as well, which is interesting. Maybe even a little bit of dankness sitting underneath. But as you go round the front curve of the palate, it's a little bit lighter and grassy. Then on the front third of your tongue, that's where you get that nice oily bubble where those juicy fruity esters start to push their way out of the beer. So yeah, on that front third of your tongue, it's kind of interesting how all these fruity characters just go together. So yeah, for me, if you go towards the back of that front third of your tongue, you do get that kind of stronger passion fruity note that you'd expect from both of these hops. There is quite a pungency to the passion fruit, but then as you move further forward from that, I think it really it does develop, it does kind of just gradually morph. The fruity third of your palate, it goes from being strong and passion fruity to evolve to be just more of a, it really evolves to be more of a kind of, you get a wee bit, I think you get a wee bit of a mango out of it, but I really think it becomes a little bit more kind of apricot-y, papaya, maybe even a little bit pineapple-y, something like that. Yeah, I think it's quite soft. To me, I do get a good bit of apricot out of this one. So yeah, I want to say passion fruit and apricot for me are the two main kind of fruity notes. As you reach the very front edge of the tongue, there's maybe just a little tiny bit of that kind of lemony zest mixing in with the grassy flavours there. But yeah, on the fruity side of things for me, mainly a kind of quite strong passion fruit at the back, more apricot-y and things as you come further forward, and just very slightly kind of pineapple-y as well. But yeah, I do like how the fruity side of this beer goes together. It's really, really nicely done, to be honest with you. But yeah, the first thing that struck me about this one was the mouthfeel. So let's kind of focus on that now. I think we've covered the flavour profile fairly well in this one. So yeah, in terms of mouthfeel then, yeah, in terms of mouthfeel, I think this beer is pushing towards the top end of mid-body. The carbonation is very smooth. It's got quite an oily mouthfeel to it in truth, and yeah, I describe it as quite an oily New England IPA for me, but in fairness, you do get a bit more creaminess out of this the further that you go into the aftertaste with it. But yeah, quite a smooth and slight and you know, almost quite more oily, creamy leaning New England double in my opinion. But yeah, in terms of the hoppy bitterness and things, what are we going to say for this one? Got a fright there, the pup's going crazy outside the window. But yeah, in terms of the hoppy bitterness, this one, I want to say this is maybe about 50, or I think it must be about 50 IBUs. It does come across as a bit more bitter. I think 50, maybe 60 IBUs coming out of this one at most. But yeah, you know, malt base, I would say really, really quite smooth. It does get thicker the further you go into the aftertaste with this one. A little bit of sweetness to it as well. Nice big sort of 50, 60 IBU bitterness, like I said, and some lovely kind of quite pungent tropical fruits coming out of the beer. But yeah, I like how this one goes together. It's a really nice introduction to Connecticut Valley Brewing Company, so I look forward to seeing how some of their other beers turn out. So I will see about trying to review the Ace of Aces for you, which is their IPL, if I'm remembering the style rightly, and I do have the Mackinac Peach Sour to review for you at some stage as well. So yeah, you'll see those reviews at some point, and I will keep an eye out for what these guys are releasing over here. I saw they've got a Doppelbock as well. I would love to have a go at the Doppelbock. I love trying Doppelbocks from different places, and I don't think actually that I've reviewed one from the States yet, if memory serves me correctly. But yeah, interesting review this one, so I hope that you guys have enjoyed it. And as I said, nice to review another beer from Connecticut and introduce another Connecticut brewery as well. Don't know how many there are in the state these days actually, but there's a ridiculous number. There must be about 4,000 breweries or something over in the States these days. But yeah, let's leave it at that for this one then. So this one was the Stargazer, an 8.1% New England double IPA from Connecticut Valley Brewing Company in South Windsor, Connecticut. But yeah, thanks again for watching my reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Connecticut Valley Brewing Company as well. Do let me know some other Connecticut breweries that I should check out when I'm over there next July. And yeah, you will see more Connecticut reviews at some point next year actually, and we will see about reviewing more of these guys' beers quite soon as well. Thank you again for watching. Check out my social media, and I'll catch you guys later. The Stargazer from Connecticut Valley Brewing Company in South Windsor, just near Hartford in Connecticut over in the States. Slàinte, skål, cheers.